record, and now we're rolling.
Woo!
That thing's gonna beep once or twice, but
Okay.
that's just because of the length. That's all that is.
Okay, so just ignore it.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Sure.
Sure. And now we are checking our angles, and we're golden. Look at
Okay.
that.
All right, here we go.
All right, Nina White.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no problem. This is kind of exciting. This is only my second podcast ever.
Your second.
Second.
What was your first?
I know, right?
Yeah.
It was actually a bunch of artists who got interviewed for a Day of the Dead art show that we did.
A Day of the Dead art show.
Mm-hmm.
What all went down there?
The Day of the Dead is it was around, that festival,
Uh-huh.
and this particular location, the studio, wanted to focus on artwork from Day of the Dead, so they had a bunch of artists submit, whatever art they happened to be doing that was around that, and I happened to have done some projects recently, and I created these characters, and had a little story behind them, and
What?
I got to display them, so it was cool.
That's so dope.
Yeah.
So you were an artist as well.
I am.
Oh, you see, I didn't know that because whenever we first met, it was on Brian's shoot, Stop Date,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And you were a production designer there, and that's what you do during the day. Is that right?
Well, no.
No, that's not. Okay.
Not quite.
All
Yeah.
right.
No, it's funny because I started that project off being in the producer's arena.
Okay.
And he wanted me to become the showrunner for that show, I believe it was. And I was doing a little of that, producing in the background for some side projects. But I discovered along the way that I've always been an artist since I was a kid. So I kind of wanted to get more into the art world.
Uh-huh.
So when, he had to choose somebody to run the art department, I was like, how can I pass that up?
I know. Yeah.
It sucked because I was torn between being the producer's, side or being the artistic side, but artistic creativity always wins out. So
Oh, absolutely.
exactly.
If you
So,
can be creative and then just have free reign, that's
yeah.
gonna
Well,
be where it's
to a
at.
degree, yeah.
Oh,
in
that's
the
right,
union
that's
world,
right.
you can only have free reign to some degree because there's always higher ups that are beating you back down,
Is
saying,
that
no,
right?
you can't do this, or I want you to do it. I want it to look like this, or,
Because like a budget and stuff like that.
Yeah.
yeah.
But as far as a production designer is kind of the top art position in the union world as far as like the films and the television and stuff.
Okay.
So you've got your production designer, you've got your art director, you've got your set decorator, and then you've got us peons who kind of work underneath them.
I gotcha.
So I
Doing,
work
like, the grunt work.
Yeah. But depending on who you're working with, see, I work with a set decorator.
Okay.
So depending on your set decorator, they allow you to be a little creative sometimes.
I see.
And the particular one I'm working with now, she trusts in what I do, thankfully.
Oh yeah.
She's probably going to watch this.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah. But no, she they let us do some fun stuff sometimes, and like artsy stuff, creative stuff, and she comes to me to do some art projects sometimes. So I have fun with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so dope. I mean, that's what I'm trying to get into now, is the more artistic side of it.
Yeah.
Because I started with audio, and that's where we met when I was running audio
Right.
with Brian and them on that. And then that just led to videography, and just now it's just ad work. I'm a director at an ad agency now, and now it's just a ton of that.
Which seems like it'd be a lot of creative stuff happening there, right?
You'd think so, but for the most part, I mean, you're basically just trying to adhere to the budget, make sure that the client really gets what they want, and that just means a lot of deliverables in a short amount of time.
Which is very similar to our department as well.
Is
Just
that
on
right?
On a grand scale, yeah. I mean, you've got film crew coming in behind you, and the director wants to shoot a certain order, say.
Okay.
And what happens a lot of times is they switch up on the order. We plan it according to that, but then they switch up the order on us, and then we end up having to film a scene that we weren't ready to film, and all of a sudden now we have one day to turn something around as opposed to maybe 3 days to turn something around.
Oh wow.
So you get under major deadlines.
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
have to make magic happen. It's
I mean,
unbelievable.
Yeah, but are you leading like a team?
I think your cat's escaping.
Oh, that's what he does.
That's okay.
Yeah, he's like, oh
Does
shit,
that-
they're recording.
Does that lead anywhere?
It's just a pantry, I'm sure. I'm gonna regret not going over there. but yeah, he just does what he does.
Okay,
It's no
cool.
worries. Now I can dig it whenever it comes to the deadlines. It can be it can be hectic a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how many people are you working around?
Well, there's a crew. It kind of varies depending on how busy we are.
Mm-hmm.
If we have a huge scene coming up versus a smaller scene, then each team kind of has their regular core people, which consists of about 3 people,
Mm-hmm.
plus our gang boss
Okay.
and our lead man, which all work under the set decorator.
Wow.
So this is like, yeah, there's a whole
It's a hierarchy
that
yeah.
happens. Yeah. But, I mean, sometimes there'll be, maybe 7 of us, and sometimes there'll be 14 of us, depending on how big the scene is and how big and how grand the set is.
Gotcha.
So,
Can you talk about what you've been working on?
I could tell you the show. It's a show called Genius.
Okay.
It's on its 3rd season, and they did. Let me think here. They did Albert Einstein for the 1st season, Pablo Picasso for the 2nd season, and now they're doing Aretha Franklin for the 3rd season.
Wow.
And
so they're like period pieces, I imagine.
all historical figures. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, they're kind of their biography of what they went through and stuff. And we're doing Aretha, which ironically, this is the 2nd Aretha show that they're filming right now.
Is that right?
Yeah. The other one was more of a feature with
Okay.
Jennifer Hudson. I believe that project was.
With Jennifer Hudson.
That one was the one that I wasn't working with. But yeah, and they were quick. It was just a feature. Whereas ours is kind of a TV show running for episodes. And ours is actually with Cynthia from Arrivo from, she just got nominated for an Oscar.
Is that right?
Yeah. So.
What?
Yeah.
That's insane, man.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
So, I mean, with you being in the business, do you consume a lot of media, like a lot of films, shows? Are you like keeping up with the Oscars and everything like that?
I try, but the problem is I used to be an avid film watcher, and I was always running to see the latest films. But honestly, since I've started in this industry, I don't have time.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, and films have always been a passion since I was a kid for me. But actually working in the films, I mean, you're working 12 hours a day, 5, sometimes 6, sometimes 7 days a week. You don't really have time. By the time you get home, you're not running off to movies,
Right.
So, and then the couple days that you happen to get off, you kind of just want to chill at home and not do much of anything.
Yeah.
So I don't keep up with them the way I'd like. But when the Oscars roll around, what I do is I find out what films were nominated for Oscar, and then I try to run to the theater to see as many as I can. And usually not. I don't usually make them all, but I try.
No, I mean, I'm the same way. That's how it was with this Oscar season. And I watched most of them up until a point. I mean, the biggest one that I really wanted to make sure I watched was Parasite. That was my.
So you saw it?
Oh yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm a big South Korean film guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because growing up in like the early 2000s, my friend Miguel, he like turned me on to film. Up until that point, I was like mainly into music. But we watched. He's like, check this out. He showed me Old Boy. I don't know if you ever watched that.
I
movie.
didn't. No.
Dude, crazy movie. But ever since then, I got that bug, and it's been years since I've been able to watch a few.
Yeah.
And then, because of Parasite, I was like, all right, let's dive in, because people were raving about it.
Yeah.
How it like changes tones.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was as dramatic as people were making it out to be. I thought it was great, but I didn't think that shift was, super heavy. For me, it felt like, it makes sense the way it went, but I don't know. What'd you think about it?
I mean, I thought it was well done from beginning to end. It caught me by surprise. I think it was better than I was thinking it was going to be. But I have noticed that whenever a lot of films get hyped up, you sort of go in with high expectations. And then when you see them, you're kind of like, oh, that wasn't as great as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But for some reason, this one, because I'd heard it was kind of good, and I didn't hear too much about it. Yeah. So when I went in to see it, I don't know. I enjoyed it from beginning to end.
Not same.
Yeah. And the end, I think, really surprised me, I guess, a little bit as far as just the way it transitioned. And I don't know. I walked out of there going, damn, that was a good movie.
Yeah. So you watched it in theaters?
Theaters.
Oh man, I just watched it here at home.
Oh, did you?
It was still great, but I it's like I'm of two minds. I'd love to see things in theaters, but sometimes, to your point, time, it's way more convenient.
I tried.
Just to do it
I tried to see it at home, and I don't know what happened. Either I couldn't find it for some reason, or it was like $20 or something to rent it, and I was just like, I might as well just go to the theater and just see it in a big screen, and so I ended up doing that. But I didn't get to catch them all. I caught a lot of them, but there was a bunch I didn't see. So that was the only one you saw?
I watched that one. I watched Joker. I didn't have a chance to see Little Women. That's one I really, really wanted to see.
I didn't. Yeah, I kind of wanted to see that, but I knew that I had kind of grown up with that story. So as much as I wanted to see it, because I liked the actresses that were involved.
Star-studded, man.
Yeah, but I knew that there was a lot of them that I wanted to see. And with limited time, I had to kind of pick and choose. So that one didn't quite make it in, but Joker definitely.
What'd you think of that one?
He's so intense.
Right?
It's like, I totally believe that. Totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I remember starting to watch it, and just with the first 10 minutes, I was like, well, this is going to get nominated for something.
Yeah. But I have asked myself several times and other people, I'm like, how do you think Heath Ledger would have done in that?
Yeah.
I think he would have been amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would have been great. But that's one thing I liked about it was that I don't know how you feel about it, but there were so many homages to Ledger's Joker, like from composition-wise to the way he was acting. Like there are a lot of shots where I was like, dude, that's the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
And so even though I don't think he's Heath Ledger's Joker, I can see like over the span of 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
What happened in that movie being like in the same universe as the Dark Knight.
No, they definitely chose a great actor.
Yeah.
A great actor for this one.
Yeah.
Because he's just on the edge of what seems to be a little imbalance.
Yes.
But he portrays it well, whether he is or isn't, who knows. But he just does a great job. He goes all in.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Now, because of your profession, whenever you watch movies, do you like pay attention to the set and all this? Like, are you like, I can't believe they did that?
It doesn't ruin it for me like I thought that it would. But I definitely do notice things in the background, especially if there's a project or a film where they kind of zone in on certain aspects of the room. Okay. For some reason, the director decides to focus in on that on the camera and maybe pans a little and captures some of that, the essence of what we put, because we put so much into a room and it really, it doesn't get its due because it's sort of a blur in the background. Sure. But there's a lot of thought. The decorator puts a lot of thought process into the stuff that she puts back there.
Absolutely.
And if the camera does pick up on some of it, it's really exciting to be able to see that.
Yeah.
So I do notice, when things like that happen in a film or, even something in the background. Like I did some artwork that ended up on a show that I was doing in the background. And it was like, you could see the two main actors in the middle of the shot. And then you see my artwork hanging up on the wall, like next to them. And I'm like, look.
That's
yeah.
So what kind of art do you lean towards doing?
It kind of like, it was more of kind of what I was hired, like a commission basis.
Okay.
I've had that. But as far as me sitting down, I've always kind of struggled with like kind of forcing myself to just create from what's in my head, like on an emotional level, maybe doing some fine art or something.
Like painting and stuff like that?
I like painting, but I couldn't for some reason get into just painting how I felt or something like that. So there has to be something that inspires me creatively, that maybe I see an idea and it spins into something else and then I have to do with that kind of a thing.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of, I enjoy sketching, I enjoy painting, just being creative in general. I went to school for design, so all of that kind of compiled together.
Gotcha.
It's kind of what I enjoy doing. It's kind of hard to just say, well, I enjoy, you know what I mean?
Just one thing.
Yeah.
It's a bit of everything.
Yeah, as long as it's something creative and inspirational, and I'm big on whimsical type of stuff. So
Gotcha. I mean, I have to say that's probably the hardest thing to get into is at least for me, to get inspired. Sometimes like that inspiration will hit and it's just like, oh, just run with it. Otherwise it'll go away.
Yeah.
But, I mean, do you feel the same way?
It's funny. Somebody was just talking to me about that recently. I think that I have more of an abundance of inspiration than maybe a lot of people do.
Okay.
My problem is I get involved in too many things. My head's swirling with like 5 different projects I want to do. And I'm like, okay, I got to focus. I get kind of scatterbrained because of that.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you, I'm like, like this, not kind of knowing what direction to go in. And I'll start a project. And then in the process of that, I'll have to, I'll get involved in it and then I'll have to get distracted with something else. And then instead of going back to that, all of a sudden I get distracted over here and I see something else. And I'm like, wouldn't that be a cool idea? And then because I'm inspired, like you run with it, I start doing something over here. And before I know it, I've got like 3 projects sitting on my table going. what happened?
Now I have to finish one. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when I start back to work again, it's like I don't have time to do anything. So I've been lately, my latest thing is making books. Making books, like journals and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah, I've really gotten into that. So I made one for a music teacher of mine, and making one for myself. But I really want to make a bunch for an Alice in Wonderland party that I'm trying to put together in my head so far. But yeah, I just anything creative. I love.
Yeah, no, I can dig that. It's tough though, because I'm like you. For me, it's always in the writing phase. I'll start to put something together and I can see it come into fruition, and then it'll spin off into another idea, and then that'll go, and then 6 months later, it's like, what the hell? I just want to do one thing.
Yeah.
So now I'm just trying to help people with their stuff, and, make it a habit to, create things. Like in January, I helped someone film like a short Valentine's Day thing. And then last month I helped this actress put together just like small scenes for people's demo reels, just something to be able to go and do stuff. And then of course this. No,
this is really cool. I think it's really cool that you're doing this. And when I saw it, on YouTube, it was like, look at that.
I really appreciate it. You were one of the first people, if not the first, to actually make a comment about it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I thought it was so awesome.
Well, you got such a great voice and delivery in the way you do things. So.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm doing my best.
I haven't seen you in forever, so this was like the first time I reached out. I'm like, hey.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, because, that's one thing that it's like a reoccurrence. I meet also so many awesome people like yourself, and I just never have a chance to get to know them, talk with them, because it's usually in the middle of a project, and then we all go our separate ways and all this.
Yeah, it's true. Well, and then, if you didn't live like out in South Carolina, if you live closer to Atlanta, you'd probably run into us more. But that's something I've noticed with our crew too. It's like you work with a group of people, and then all of a sudden you don't see them for like a year, and all of a sudden you run into them again, then you run into them again, then you run into them again. You're like, what? You just never know. But we eventually all cycle back around.
That's right. I'm trying to get back into more work in Atlanta. That's like everything I've been filming this year. It's just near out there.
Yeah.
It's just tough, because that's right now it's where I work. The ad agency is like 15 minutes away from here.
Oh, then that works better.
Yeah. But I want to do something else, like more narrative. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but I think I've been desensitized. I just can't even look at ads anymore.
Really?
I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to see them.
Yeah.
Let's just do something different.
Yeah. But that's good. You give something a run for a little while until, you're ready to move on to something else.
Yeah. I mean, have you had that kind of experience where you just run the course on something and then it's time for something else?
Yes. I've when I was growing up, when I was coming up, my jobs varied so much from one extreme to the other that I couldn't stick with one particular thing, because it's like I just had to try this and try that. So it would just, one thing would lead to another. But my dad had always said that I was a taster. He called me a world taster or something to that effect. So I should have known that was the start of something there. Yeah. And it's been up until I hit the film industry. And the film industry is what's kept my attention the longest. But every other job was like 2 years, and I had to move on.
Yeah. No, they say that that's pretty common now, is like the threshold for people to stay in a certain job or a certain position is 2 years.
Really?
Oh yeah. And then it's like a common thing to just switch to something else, whether that be in the position, in that same company, but for the most part, it's just moving to a totally different.
People are getting bored after 2 years, I guess.
Yes. I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. I think we're just all, creatures of change. Just, it's good to get out and do something.
See, I've heard
different.
Creatures of habit, but creatures of change, I haven't heard that one.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, but it makes sense. I mean, I've seen that enough. But I don't know. Does it have something to do with, the way we are in this culture, as far as, the way that they're making our lives just so quick and fast, and like where I got to constantly be running and always striving to do this, and I mean, maybe that's sort of guiding us in that direction, that we just can't sit and breathe, and like in Europe, where they all just enjoy things. Right.
And now that's definitely not an American thing. It's more like work.
Yeah.
We got to do something else, otherwise, you're going to fall by the wayside, which is a shame, because to your point, sometimes it's good just to relax.
Yes, and it's very difficult to do when you're used to running at 100 miles a minute. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like I just feel guilty if I'm sitting there.
No, same.
I either feel guilty or I fall asleep.
Oh, there you go.
It's one or the other.
Yeah. No, I'm the same way. It sucks because, like, I want to do something fun, you know, like either go hiking, play a video game, just do something else where I'm enjoying just myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then to your point, guilt.
Mm-hmm.
I really should be doing something.
It's terrible. I know.
Yeah.
But it's like sometimes I think our bodies force us
Yeah,
to
right.
just sit, you
Mm.
know, because you run yourself down.
Yeah.
Tired. I fall asleep, you know, just trying to get to work in the morning sometimes. I
Yeah.
just get so tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we mentioned meeting with Brian. Have you kept up with him lately? I spoke with him only a couple of times since then, and he was trying to put together a feature whenever, like a couple of years back.
Yeah. I actually have not kept up with Brian. We were doing that project for a little while, and he was trying to find some funding or some support or something,
Sure.
or distribution. And then I think life just happened, and, you know, we all got busy with other things. My friend Claire, who I was mentioning before,
Yeah.
she kept up with him longer than I did. I think she still does
Okay.
from time to time. But yeah, I just got into the union world, and I just started working on the bigger features and the films and the TV shows, and I really didn't have time for anything else.
Right. Right.
So I kind of just ran with that.
Yeah. And this was after Stop Date. You went union, is that right?
I'm
was
trying
it
to
during?
remember. I'm trying to remember if I was union before or after. I think I hit union in 2013. When was Stop Date? I should know this year.
I want to say that it was about the same time.
Okay.
It was because it was right when I was about to graduate, or right after I graduated, and that was 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was trying to get more work,
Okay.
freelance.
Okay.
And I kept on flirting with the idea of going union, but I just didn't know enough about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's expensive too.
It's expensive to get in, and it's all about who you know.
It really is.
It's like the same thing with freelance.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. But then I have friends. Do you remember Shinley?
Yes.
Yes. I want to get him on here too.
I run into him. I keep losing.
Oh, no, you're good.
They keep sliding off my head. Shenley, I run into him from time to time. It's the funniest thing, out in the middle of nowhere. I'll be like, hey.
Oh, shit.
But it's only like once every 6 months to 8 months. And I
Yeah.
think we ended up running across each other on the same project one time.
Oh, what?
But he didn't end up staying on the project. I think he moved on to another one. But it's just, you know, it's just every now and then I run into Shenley. He just sort of reminds me he's still there, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a good guy. I liked him.
I loved him. I thought he was great. And
Yeah.
I'm just working with him. I learned so much from all of you, just because here I was from the Art Institute. And I don't know if you know that college lifestyle, but it's not really so much of, it's like they get your feet wet a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's really about it. It's up to you to
I've
run.
heard
with
things
it.
like that. I didn't go to the Art Institute. I went there. I knew some people I was friends with some people who taught at the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale.
Oh,
This is in Florida. And I had gone for like some extension classes kind of a thing, but I never fully went to the Art Institute to do that sort of thing. But I heard from people who graduated from various art institutes that's kind of what it is. They sort of just there, they collect your money, and, you know, they teach you a little bit, but you really just need to dive in and just do it. You know,
absolutely.
Find somebody that you know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was my big thing is whenever I was there, I just had to intern. Like from the first month I was there, I was like, well, they're obviously not going to, you know, push me to go and do things on my own. They're just giving you small assignments to kind of get the gist of what they're trying to teach. But that's really it.
Yeah.
So I had to go intern at, you know, Doppler and all that just to try to do something. And then freelance is how I ended up getting all of my work, just online. And after having one person hire me and then just meeting people and everything, because it was, I don't even remember how I got working with, you know, Brian at Stop
I was gonna
Date.
ask how that happened. Yeah, I didn't, because I didn't know you before that. So
Dude, I couldn't tell you. I can't remember.
it had to have been a reference from somebody.
Someone was working with someone else, and it was because I had. Oh, that's right. I had a Black Magic, and that camera. It was the Black Magic camera, and you know, he needed audio, and I had the camera that he wanted to use. You know, so
that's it. That's it. You're in.
Absolutely.
Wow. I'll tell you how I got into it, because when I moved up to Atlanta from Fort Lauderdale, I was in the commercial industry in Fort Lauderdale, so I didn't really know anybody up here in Atlanta. But I did know Blake Myers. I don't know if you know who that is. Really good guy. He runs the Buried Alive Film Festival.
Okay.
Here there in Atlanta. I don't know where I am, but I'm in South Carolina. So he runs that festival every year. And what we did when I was in Fort Lauderdale, we put together, a bunch of friends and I put together a small project and sent it off to the film festival.
Okay.
And it won an award,
What?
which was amazing. So that was my connection to Atlanta. That was like one or if not the only person that I knew. And I contacted him and I said, hey, I'm moving up to Atlanta. I was going to move to LA, but I was like, don't do it. Go to another friend of mine said, don't do it. Go to Atlanta. That's where all the happenings are. So I was like, okay, well, it's closer to Florida. It's closer to home.
Right, right.
So when I came up, I knew him and met a couple people through him, but they kind of run in different circles. They run in the more of the horror genre circle. And I don't, because I'm not like a huge horror person. And I always felt bad about that because they're so big here in Atlanta.
Oh, and people like ride or die with that, you know. Like if you're not, they're like, what?
Sometimes I watch them. I mean, I think I'm more of the mental thriller type of like Hitchcock and stuff like that.
Oh man, I mean, I'm with you completely.
Yeah.
Those are the better movies, I think.
Yeah. They kind of mess with your mind. You never know what's going to happen, and nothing could happen. It's just the intensity of something might happen.
Right.
You know.
Right. I think that they make for better writing because right now horror is just all about blood, guts, all that.
Yeah.
All that
yes.
jazz. It's really,
It was like that in the 80s too. The B movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's like cheap to make. It's cheaper to make that. You don't have and to distribute too. Yeah. You know,
because over in China and in the Asian countries, they love to eat that up.
It.
Yeah.
Yeah. And translation isn't too much because most of the time they're just screaming and then blood
and being stabbed or whatever. Yeah. Hands cut off. Yeah. So, but so that was like kind of my only connection. I came up. What I ended up doing was I just cold emailed a UPM or who was a producer of some sort. I'm trying to think what his position exactly was, which is terrible. But that was the first show that I got onto. I emailed him.
Okay.
He responded back. He was amazing that he even did that and that I even got that connection. He responded back, got me an interview into the production office of that show. It was Devious Maids season 1.
Okay.
And that's kind of, I went in, interviewed. I told them, they said, what is it that you really want to do? Because I was going to PA for the office.
Gotcha.
And I said, I'm really into art. That's really kind of what I moved to Georgia to get more into and get away from the production side and do more of the art side. And he's like, well, we have our set deck department that might be looking for a PA and whatever. Hooked me up. It was the most amazing opportunity. It was the greatest experience. And it was also a very torturous experience.
Yeah.
Which I could go on, but I have to be careful not to name any names. But I learned a lot through that and met a lot of people through that. And since then, there's a lot of people that I still keep in touch with. Some of those people have risen up to higher positions since then.
Right.
So because of that, it helps keep you sort of in the loop as well.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, rising.
And,
what is it? What's the saying? Is like a rising tide raises all ships.
Yeah,
Something like that,
I guess in a sense. And one of the PAs that I had met on that show actually gave me my very first big show opportunity, and I got onto Anchorman 2 because of him.
What?
Yes. And I was still an art PA at that time, but I got to work with some great people, met a lot of people, and just learned from there and said, set dresser, that's where I want to go. I want to go to the set deck department.
Yeah.
I want to be one of the people assisting the decorators, putting the rooms together, making them look fabulous, getting hands-on experience.
Wow.
And that's what I strived for, and that's what I got.
There you go. Yep. I love that. So, I mean, how is it working on a set of a big film like that? Like, did you stay with it throughout the duration of the whole production, or was it just, parts of it? Because I think they traveled a bit for that. For
Anchorman?
Yeah, the second one.
It's whatever they shot here in Atlanta. What happens is they bring the locals in for that portion of it, and then if they went to San Diego to shoot I think towards the tail end of it to shoot the rest of it.
Okay.
But it was a small percentage. They shot most of it here, I believe.
Okay.
But you don't get to go to San Diego unless you're one of the higher ups, like one of the producers or one of the the director, or one of the main people.
Yeah.
I don't think our decorator was from LA, so she might have gone back. Mm-hmm. That would make sense. So yeah, it kind of depends on what your position is, whether you're traveling with them or not. But most of the time, they kind of try to hire locally.
Yeah.
So
that's a big thing now. I know a lot of actor friends. A lot of them have been moving to LA.
The actors, really?
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
else is moving over here, so that's
Is that right?
interesting. Yes.
Dude,
That's why
they've been
Atlanta's-
like, yeah, we're moving because O'Reilly, one of the actors I had on here, she was saying that, you know, it wasn't really working out for her the way she was hoping. And I don't know if that's a consequence of just it's who you know or anything like that, but apparently that there's a lot of stuff being filmed in LA too, or LA now. I don't know.
There's some stuff. Well, yeah. I mean, I think the last I had heard, and maybe that's changed since then, but Atlanta was actually the #1 city for filming.
Yeah, I thought so.
Rose above LA, and LA was kind of, I think, was not happy about that. But as far as the actors go, maybe that's right, because a lot of times we do bring in people from LA.
Yeah.
So it could be, you know, that it just works out that way. But as far as, you know, the crews and stuff, I think, you know, we try to keep it here home based. And
Gotcha.
I think the majority of the time, a lot of the crews from LA are moving here, is what I hear.
Okay. Yeah, I heard the same thing.
Yeah.
But Katie, she works for Otto Menes, and they're just a camera rental place, right?
Oh, okay.
And so she gets all these lead sheets, and, you know, she's been saying that a lot of stuff has been started filming in LA and Europe. That's a big thing now.
Yeah.
Is those two places. But
it does kind of shift around. I also heard that, I could be wrong here, but I want to say New Mexico or Utah, one of those has signed a deal with Sony or something. And
is that right?
Yeah, and they were supposed to be getting some 10-year contract or something. So I know
Holy
it's kind of shifting. The jobs are kind of shifting around a little bit.
Yeah.
But so far we're still there.
Yeah.
You know, just trying to hang on and ride the wave while we can.
Absolutely. I don't think it's going anywhere.
That's what I hear, but you know, we
yeah.
got nervous with the heartbeat bill happening. It was
Politics, man.
yeah. I mean, actors were like, we're not going to continue coming here if this thing, you know. But we're like, what about us? We have nothing to do with it. You're going to make us suffer because you're trying to make your point. I understand. But at the same time, this is our bread and butter.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to put a lot of people in unemployment because of that.
Yeah, all for it's a complicated issue.
Yeah.
I'm with you. To me, like, if I was in that position, that would be more important, you know, to keep. It's not like everyone here believes that.
Yeah, everybody
you know.
has their different opinions and stuff. Yeah.
And just because we believe different things doesn't mean we can't work together. Like, there's this whole thing where, you know, people are shutting each other out or trying to, like, distance themselves just because, you know, we all have different opinions. And it's like, dude, we can work. It's okay.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's why they say never talk politics, never talk religion, or
Right.
whatever it is. Yeah,
Right.
just you know.
Yeah,
and then we can
yeah.
all just keep moving forward.
Yeah, that's one thing I've wanted to talk about here, though, with a lot of people is that kind of stuff, because you can't escape. You can't escape it. It's everywhere.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like with this coronavirus. That's crazy stuff, man.
I'm hearing things on both sides of the coin for the coronavirus, though. People are freaking out, and then I'm also hearing, you know what? It's just another version of the flu. Don't panic.
Oh, that's what I hear too. It's only affecting, you know, the people who are, you know, getting pretty ill are the elderly and the young.
Yeah.
And that's how it is with the flu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just spoke with our medic yesterday.
Okay.
Because we always have a medic on hand, and he told me he had a meeting at the CDC.
Oh, wow.
And he said that they had told him it's nothing to completely it's nothing to panic over. It is another version of the flu, basically. And, you know, you don't have to go to extremes. You know, you don't have to freak out. And if you want to wear a mask, that's fine. If you don't worry about it. So it's people are making more of it than what it is. But I'm still wanting to be on the cautious side, because I'm going to get ready to travel in about a month or so.
Oh?
Yeah. And I'm like, well, okay, am I exposing myself to something I need to be concerned about?
Right.
You know, bring your vitamin C and everything else.
That's right. Where you traveling to?
We're actually going to Spain and Greece.
What?
Yes.
Just for vacation?
Yeah, I'd always wanted to go to Greece for years, and I finally made it happen. And instead of just going to Greece, we figured we'd make a 2-week trip out of it and hit another country. So Barcelona, Madrid.
On.
That's going to be Spain, and then Greece is going to be Athens, Mykonos, and Santorini.
That is amazing. Do you have places you want to go, or are you just gonna, you know?
Santorini, I'm going to hit, if I can, the entire island.
There you go.
Top to bottom, because they say it's kind of like a long spine, and you can kind of walk it. It's going to take a minute, but you can see it all, basically.
Wow.
So, and there's such history too. Well, everything out there, but Santorini, you know, they're saying Santorini they think is suspect to possibly be like the you know, the city that sank. Why is my brain blanking on it? You know, the city
I don't know anything about it.
The The one that sank with all the whole entire city that sank under the water.
Okay.
That guy was destroyed. It's not Pompeii. Wow, you guys are going to think I'm idiots for remembering this, but it's like a huge thing. And they say that, I mean, there's people who suspect that Santorini's one of the spots. There's other spots that they suspect it's the lost city of.
Oh.
It's like right there, and I can't think of it.
Okay.
But anyway, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's historical. If you were to Google sunken city
I'm doing it right now.
in Greece, yeah,
Sunken city in Greece.
right. It was taken down by volcanoes, I believe.
Sunken city in Greece.
It's a whole civilization.
Petri.
That's just the Greek probably name of it.
Oh, okay.
Is it Pompeii?
I don't think so. It says it's underwater coast of southern Siona. Now they're gonna think I can't pronounce things.
Well, it's
5,000 years old.
Those Greece words, they're tough. But anyway, I mean, you've heard the name. I'm sure you heard the name because people refer to it all the time. You know how your brain just decides to quit working.
Absolutely.
Yes. So that's what's happening right now.
You're gonna be in bed about to go to sleep, and then you're gonna remember it and just scream it.
Yes. I'm gonna send you a message. I got
it. There you go. That's right.
But anyways, it's suspected that Santorini was that original spot.
Wow.
Because they got volcanoes there. So, and they say that if you were to look below the ocean, like off the coast, you could see stuff underneath there.
No way.
Yeah.
That is so cool. That's one thing I have to do much more of is travel. I haven't had the chance to do it because to what we were talking about earlier, just
time.
Always busy, always working.
You know, it gets to a point where you have to sort of make it a priority and to do it because if you don't, your life will pass you by.
Oh man,
and
I'm feeling it
faster
already.
And faster.
Yeah. I'm about to be 30 and I'm like, what happened?
Yeah, that's the magic turning point.
What did I do?
Yeah. I'll tell you, when you hit 30, though, it gets even faster.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It just feels like the days, because it's already feeling like it's blurring.
Yeah.
You know, 29, I don't
like, what did I do? Kind of.
What happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I was thinking about what I wanted to do, and now it's almost June.
Yes.
3 months.
Right. In the years, it's like, 2019. Now it's 2020. You're going to blink your eyes. It's going to be 2021. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Stop the train.
It's nuts. I remember growing up and one of my friends' dads was saying, you guys really need to slow down and just enjoy it because you're going to think back of high school, college, and wish you just soaked it in a little more.
It's like a whole nother lifetime ago when I think about that.
Yes.
A whole, like...
insane.
Trying to connect that. And then you go to have you ever been to a reunion for school?
No, no way.
Yeah.
I got an invite and I was like, I'm not going there, man. Not that I didn't want to do it because I would love to connect with all these people. But at the same time, I don't know. I have this weird feeling about seeing everyone, and maybe it's something that I'm just not happy with where I am now, so I don't even want I don't even want to worry about it.
Well, I'll tell you, when I did it, I only went to my 10-year. And it's funny because you make all this progress, leave that behind, your awkward years and, and whatever. And then you go back and you do this 10-year reunion, like, oh, well, I'm in a much better place. I feel better about myself. I don't look awkward and have braces on, stupid hair, glasses. And
I'm an adult.
Yeah. You're like, I've changed. I'm proud of who I am now. You go there and it's like mentally, all of a sudden you get yanked back into who you were as an awkward 16-year-old or whatever. And it feels the same.
Yeah.
It feels like you're right back to where you were, and you're like, why am I torturing myself like this? I didn't go to another reunion after that. I was like, it was weird. Yeah. I mean, it was cool seeing everybody, but yeah, everybody's changed so much,
Yeah. We all have different lives, different friends and everything.
Yeah.
I remember, I think it was the year before I graduated, one of my friends was talking about, like how in years from then that we would maybe see each other once every 5 years, say hey, chat, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was like, that's so sad. And now I'm like, that's reality.
It is. It is.
How it works.
But the great thing is the good friends that you have can allow that much time to lapse. And when you do see each other, you pick up right where you left off.
Absolutely.
As if it hasn't been that long.
Yeah.
And those are good friends that just keep it seamless.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's how it is, especially in this career, or like in the profession, I think that we dwell in, it's pretty common.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't ever have a chance to hang out because they're all so busy.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. It's not only your schedule, but combining with their schedule.
Yeah.
I have two really good friends who we used to hang out all the time, and it's like we've been trying to hook back up, and it's like Claire, and she does editing. My other friend Michelle, she does a lot of like independent projects and commercial work and stuff like that. And she's recently been doing some union work, and she does like hair and makeup and all that stuff.
Wow.
Then you've got my schedule, and it's like we can never. It's like every great now and then we'll be like, oh, let's do breakfast or something? Nope, sorry. How about next Saturday? Well, let me check my schedule. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. It is what it is, man.
It is.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't change it. Not
no
right
way.
now.
No way.
I'm enjoying it.
That's another thing too. Is like the older I get, the more I'm not really worried about, because everyone's like retirement. I'm like, I don't ever want to stop working.
Yeah.
I don't see myself being like, okay, I'm done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I've got glimpses of that.
Oh,
I'm enjoying what I do, but I have gotten glimpses of that, what you just mentioned. Because a lot of people around me have thought about it, and I'm hearing it more and more, and they're like, I mean, you can only do it for so long, especially when it's physically taxing.
Sure.
We do a lot of physical work, and
I imagine.
It's kind of like your body breaks down, and all of a sudden you're waking up and your wrist hurts, or your leg hurts, or your neck's tweaked, and you're like, oh great, what am I gonna do? I'm getting old, I got to figure something out. And the industry's still so good. If you can find something, still staying connected to the industry, that's the trick. But yeah, I mean, I'm not looking to get out of it, but I know that reality is saying that I probably need to start thinking about it.
Yeah.
But I know that I am having fun right now, so I'm just sort of taking it day by day.
Day by day.
And what other kind of job allows you to do the things? Like yesterday, me and another dresser was it yesterday or the day before, we're told to test a bed. Like, test this bed. We need to make sure that it's going to be okay for the actors to get on it and do their thing. So it was like, they're like, okay. So my dresser friend and I are physically jumping on the bed, just bouncing around on it. We're looking at each other, and she goes, who gets to do this and get paid for doing this? This is like, This is a treat. So yeah, it's the little fun things like that.
Yeah.
That make it worth it. You're like, I can't sit at a desk 9 to 5 and no, I would go insane.
Yeah.
I'd rather be jumping on the bed.
Always.
Right.
Awesome. Well, I mean, are you doing anything more independent, or do you have those kind of side projects going on as well? Or, I mean, do you just stay so busy?
I don't. I've wanted to. I actually tried starting a little side thing called Drunk Puppy Films.
Okay.
And we had some fun ideas, projects in mind, just comedy spoofs, and because everything's comedic in our household. So I kind of wanted to do something that we managed to do one video.
Okay.
And that's where it ended. If you were to look up Drunk Puppy Films, it's one video. It was some LeBron spoof about this with this dog. Because he was always, in meetings and stuff and doing the pump up conversations and speeches and whatever, and he would use the term dog. There was a particular one where he just kept repeating dog and kept calling everybody dog and dog. And we're like, okay, we got to do something with this.
Yeah.
So we actually made it out to be that he was actually motivational speaking to a dog. And we had a little dog sitting there with a little jersey on. He was listening.
No way.
It was cute.
Come on.
And I got a bunch of people involved, and they were all gung-ho about it.
Yeah, that's one thing I really liked about doing all that kind of stuff, is that know good people. They're all ready to help out and get a project done. In
the independent world, yes, it's a little tougher when you get up to the union side, because everybody's used to being paid so well, so it's
their time,
and they're tired, their time. They just want to be at home doing nothing. But if you have good buddies, that they'll always still help you out. But I don't do the little projects. I kind of wished I did more, but I honestly don't know where I'd find the time.
So. I'm with you. It's just something that on occasion, like I was just saying, like once a month, maybe like during the weekend, whenever I'm not doing this. But this is taking some time. I didn't think it would, because you'd think, you just sit down for a little while, record. But
it's getting more involved than you thought. Yeah.
But it's a good thing. I'm loving it. I love the 3 cameras, the audio, and everything, and now editing. lie.
Yeah.
all at
That's all. Is that what you're doing over there? I was
Yeah,
wondering with all these.
yeah.
It's like pulling with lit up buttons over
That's
there.
right. That's right. So it's all recording on this guy, and then bam, I'll cut to you. Or no, me.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And since it's recording, everything's edited, the audio's done, everything. So I just take this and then just write the upload and
Awesome.
don't even have to worry.
Awesome. Well, I think as time goes along, it's going to get easier and easier for you, and you'll be able to bang it out faster and faster.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I enjoy having, because my wife usually is here the one editing and doing all that
Right.
jazz.
That helps.
It definitely helps. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I've noticed too is like collaborative.
Yeah.
It's always best to do that.
You got a Sheba over there. Maybe she can.
Dude, I was thinking about the same thing.
Just teach her how to hit the button.
Yeah. That would be pretty. Every time she hits it, a treat would come out.
Yes, exactly.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, if you do that, you got to film it because I got to see that.
Okay, we'll do. Now you were saying Claire edits.
Yes, she
Yeah.
has a post-production company.
It's her and her husband. Is that
Mhm,
right? Like
mhm.
I remember seeing some stuff on Facebook where they like film and then they do post as well. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They're in the commercial world. They work a lot with like what you were saying before, what you were doing.
Uh-huh.
So they do a lot of post work for that, and they also get involved with side projects like whether it's a commercial, actually the filming of it, or another side project that comes in. They have all the equipment, and they're their own self-contained little company.
Yeah.
And they stay really busy too. It's amazing.
That's
between
insane.
the two of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I guess it's networking and everything, doing all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
It's definitely helpful.
yeah, they just bought a house not that
Oh,
long ago.
nice.
Super cute little house. Yeah, so they finally had to move all their equipment and everything over into this house because they were staying they had a warehouse before.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of nice because they have animals too. They have a
what?
cat and 2 dogs, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
better for them to have a yard. And stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, that's why I'm glad I have just them too, because for the whole place, I think this is a huge thing for a cat.
Yeah.
But for a dog, dude, there's trails back here. Like I can just walk, and then that way there's like this Boy Scout swamp area, like 2 miles long, and then that way another 3 miles of stuff. So she has so much area to go, and and it helps me stay active too.
Mhm. Yeah,
And that's tough to find time
that's
to
a
do
good
as
thing.
well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's craziness, man. It's nuts.
Wow. Well, this is cool. This is really cool.
Yeah.
Being that this is my second podcast, I'm finding that they're really interesting
Yeah, I think it's
processes.
it's a good way for people to, at least like who are listening, to get to know everyone, like myself, you, any other guest, or like with bigger shows. I think it's interesting because you really don't get to know people through pictures or like little stories through Facebook, but with a long form thing like this, oh man, people can just go and you're like, oh, these are people.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. I mean,
yeah.
it's just like the old natural way of just conversing with somebody,
Yeah.
and picking up a phone and calling somebody. I got into a
Right.
conversation with somebody about that, texting versus calling. I've fallen into the habit of preferring to text than preferring to call because it takes too much time to make a phone call. It's just terrible.
It's weird. I get a phone call and like, I'm like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. It's
Are
like,
you mad?
pick up the buttons and just hit the letters you want. Let's move on.
Yeah.
My mom was telling me the other day, she's like, call your brother. You need to ask him a question. I'm like, no. I'm like, can I just text him? She said, no, pick up the phone and call him. I'm like, but that's going to take too much time, and
Yeah.
I have other things to do.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I don't know if it's laziness or what.
It's probably a mixture of a lot of things. I'm the same way. My dad is in Texas. Him and my sister, they moved out there a couple of years back. Dude, she's got married, has a kid. My dad got remarried. Like, it was a whole thing. And I really don't know that much about it just because I haven't called them too much. And I'm like, I'm doing my own thing.
It's tough.
It's very hard.
Yeah. But I have an aunt and uncle who still write long form writing. They send me letters.
Really?
Yeah.
And then
they don't have the computer to type and email, that type of stuff. So, and they want to see pictures, and I'm just like, how do I send you pictures? Why don't you have an email? I can't send you a picture. You're going to make me go out and print something and then stick it in an envelope and then mail it to you.
There you go.
But I do try to mail them back. I'm kind of slacking for the past probably 6 months right now.
Wow.
But they're really good about sending out letters, and it causes me to be more creative also because they're art teachers. They were art teachers. They're retired art teachers. So, it's a challenge for me to not just simply write out a letter, slap a stamp on it, but be a little more creative with it, more artistic.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've, tried to age paper and make it look like it's an old, it's like you try to do things like that. Yeah.
That's right. Because you say you do journals.
Recently, started trying to do journals.
Yeah. So, I mean, how did you get into art? Because I drew when I was a kid. And then I color and everything and did some painting. But only recently, like the past 3-4 years, I'm like really trying to get really good gesture drawing and doing like.
Have you taken like life drawing classes and stuff like that? Or?
No, I do everything like mainly online. Like there's so much stuff online just to teach yourself. Like Proco, Proco?
Yeah. No.
Dude, it's all about the technical way of, portrait drawing and then gesture drawing. And then I have like hours and hours and hours of just like all these models and gesture, and they just do the poses, and they'll do like 30 seconds, 60, and then 5 minute, 10 minute.
That's how it was when I was coming up. But we were in classes because they didn't have that available when I was coming up.
Is that right?
I'm going to start dating myself here, but I'm not going to say how old I actually am. Point is, they didn't have that available. So we had to be live in the moment, and we would be sitting there. And there's something about being in that environment, kind of like going to a movie theater to watch a movie. Yeah. Being in that environment and being surrounded, having a whole circle of artists with the model in the middle. And your teacher walking around and interacting with you, saying, okay, that's great. Now do a little more of this, a little more of that. And just the smell of the art materials. And it's just being encompassed by that. It was a really cool experience. But I think I learned a lot,
No, absolutely. That. It's super romantic the way you just described it. I want that. I want to know what that is. Because I've drawn stuff like I'd go and drive and like I draw a building or trees or just something because I need to get more visual memory going. Because whenever I go and just try to draw from memory,
it's tough.
It's really hard, but if I'm go out there and I get it, it's able to come quicker. Yeah. But
I still have problems with that. Even with all the art classes I've taken and been doing this since I was a kid, I still have trouble retrieving details from memory. Like if you were to tell me to draw a horse right now, it would be a little difficult for me. Not that I don't know what a horse looks like, but for some reason I need to have it in front, like live in front of me, or a picture of him,
reference,
or
something.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's so interesting you say that. I was watching a video where it was an art teacher at a place in LA. I can't remember the name of the art place or the school. Super reputable, but he was saying it was one of the things, like he'll have students audition to be a part of the school, and they'll go and they'll do like a test, and he says draw a horse from memory, and like,
oh, you're kidding?
No, and no one's ever been able to do
really. I don't feel so bad now.
Nah, dude, it's one of the hardest things to draw from memory. Like, it's crazy.
I just randomly picked horse.
That's what I thought was crazy. That was so nuts. Like, but no, I think I can do like skulls and buildings, and like for the most part, like I'll draw, shapes like ellipses, circles, and then all these other tubular shapes and all this, and then I'll do a page of that or 2 pages, and then I'll do squares and boxes, put everything in 3D, try to get really technical with all of it, use my arm and all this shade and all that.
That's my favorite shading. I love shading.
Yes,
it really makes a difference. It's a huge difference.
Absolutely. It's just, again, it's tough to find time. It's because like any skill you want to learn, you got to put the time in, and again, like to get inspired, because then I'll go and write something. I'm like, I really wish I could draw the way I see it in my head.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's tough. I've I guess I've heard that before, and it's difficult for me. Like if I get something in my head, I can see to put it down, but other people who struggle with that, who don't have that same inclination, it's tough. Like with music.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm not good. I've tried playing instruments when I was a kid, and I think my music teacher at that point was like, yeah, maybe you should find something else. I was trying to learn to play the flute. Yeah. I could not get it down for anything. I don't know why. I should have known then. I just wasn't musically inclined in that way. But, since then, I mean, I've always thought guitars are romantic. To be able to play that, it's just beautiful. And I bought a guitar, and I started trying to learn it, and then life again happened, and I put it down, and I haven't really picked it up since. Yeah. And right now I'm into the ukulele. I bought one of those.
Hell yeah.
And that's one thing that my music teacher is helping me with too, is learning to play that a little bit. So, it's like I'm determined to try to make music happen because it's huge for me. It's very instrumental in my life. It's kind of it's psychology for me, music. And I love it. And, and I can, certain aspects of it are comfortable and they flow to me. But when it comes to picking up an instrument, it's very difficult. But I want to.
Yeah. What? That's the hardest part right there is that want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel. Because I remember.
Really? I want a lot of things, but that doesn't make it any easier.
Well, well, for me, it's like the want and then the drive to keep going.
Yeah.
That's the hard. That's the hard. And it's funny you mention it because that the first thing that got me to learn what that was and then the work to get better at something was playing the guitar. Like I learned whenever I was 14. That's how long I've been playing since like 14.
Oh, sweet.
All the way till now. And I was into it like 4 to 6 hours during high school and then a lot of that in college. And it ended up just fading away.
But do you think if you picked, how long ago? That was a while ago?
Yeah, but I play every day.
I was going to say, if you picked up the guitar today, how would you feel? Like riding a bike kind of thing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can put it down. And I've put it down for like 5-6 years. And I picked it up. We were doing some recording for some spot. The client wanted original music. And I had a melody in my head, and a friend of mine, the creative director, came by, and he brought his guitar, and I asked him to bring it in. And after about one day of just messing around, it's all there. It's not going anywhere.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's like you can learn the guitar. It's easy. It's not that hard.
But being able to to just naturally feel comfortable with it, and it's hard on your fingers. You got to build up your calluses and stuff.
Oh yeah, but 6 months. That's not that crazy.
Well, sticking with it though.
That's
during
the
that
hard
time.
part. That drive. Yeah.
But to be able to write music, and to be able to create, and it's like my husband does it every day.
Oh yeah, he plays.
He plays, but he plays for himself.
That's the important part.
Yeah, and it drives me crazy because I'm like, you're so talented. Why don't you do something more with that? He writes music. He plays it. He doesn't, a lot of times record it down. So that little baby that he creates is gone the next day or the day after. And I'm like, and this has happened so many times. Yeah. So he's finally better at recording some stuff down, but I'll go chasing him with a recorder saying, play that again, because I don't want you to lose that.
Yeah.
But I always thought he could do something with it. Yeah. And it just comes so easily and so naturally to him. And he can hear it in his head constantly. Yeah. And it's just a matter of getting it out. But for me, it's like, it's not, I don't understand it. It's foreign, kind of like somebody who, like, for him, art, drawing. Right. He can see it in his head, but he can't get his hand to do what his brain wants it to, So I think everybody's got their own talents. And,
absolutely.
It's
but like you said earlier, I feel like now I'm leaning more towards how you're saying, where you're kind of tasting everything. Yeah.
I think it's important. I would question that for a little while because I don't really have one career that I focus on, or at least before the film industry, I didn't have one career that I focus on. And you hear about all these people who went to school, got their degree, and that's their career, and they're successful,
like
and they got
focus,
this nice house. Yeah. And I'm like, I never had that. And not that I didn't go to school, it's just there wasn't one thing that took my breath away that made me want to devote everything to stick with it until the film industry. And I thought being a taster was bad,
No, me too. Me too. I mean, it's kind of like a normal thing to be like, well, you really shouldn't do all this stuff. You have to focus. You have to get your life together and all this. Like growing up, that was a big thing. Not really with my parents, but like everyone around me. Dude, I remember in 4th grade, my math teacher, I think she was having a mental breakdown. For real.
Really?
Yes.
So all the numbers.
It's weird. Like, yeah, right. For some reason, all the students in the 5th grade, it was like 3 teachers. We all, took their classes and interchanged them. But everyone was in her classroom for some reason, like 200 kids or something. It was crazy.
She was like a favorite teacher?
It was like some kind of event or something was going on, but we were just all in there. And she was getting emotional and crying, and thinking back, I think she was having a mental breakdown. And then she was talking about how like she felt sorry for all of us, but we were also the worst class ever. What? And I was like, what is, and then she's like, I want to apologize because if you're not good at something now, you never will be. And when I was a kid, I was like,
That's horrible.
I think something is wrong.
Yeah, she must have been going through something.
It was
aside.
Weird.
Yeah, it sounded like she was going through something. But those are the stories that you hear where people are huge successes now.
Yeah.
Because it's like they were told, way back when, you'll never do this. Find something different to do.
Right.
And then they proved them. You heard about the tower in Atlanta. I don't know if this is a true story or not. This is what I was told. There's a building in Atlanta, super tall, one of the tallest structures, that's shaped like that.
Okay.
It has a point on the end, and it's really tall and long and whatever.
Okay.
And supposedly the story goes, as somebody told me, that building, the architect of that building, the designer of that building, was told when he was in school by his teacher, architect teacher, whatever, that he would not be good. He needs to find something else, that just, let it go, whatever. So to prove that teacher wrong, his success allowed him to be able to design this building, kind of to get back to him and say, look what I did. Remember me now and what you told me. Now I'm the one who's got the building, the structure in Atlanta. That's one of the tallest structures. And it's actually in the design of a pencil.
What?
To kind of show him.
There you go.
That's the story I heard. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but it makes sense when I look at the building. It looks like a pencil.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
That's really cool. Yeah. I mean, I don't ever really remember getting told that I couldn't do something when I was growing up, but I always did feel like. See, for me, it was different. It was like I would see someone do something, and then I would be like, "Well, I could do that." And then I would try it and then be like, oh, okay, I think I have a knack for something. It happened with cinematography. I was in audio, right? So some kid was doing some short film and everyone was going crazy about it. And I was like, all right, okay, let me watch it. And I watched it and it was well done. I liked it. At the same time, I was like, I could do this. So I got a camera and I tried to do my own thing. It's just funny. That's kind of my thing. How
did it turn out?
It turned out great.
Okay.
Cool. I say great. Well, it was interesting. Like it was a short film, like steampunk
cool.
Western.
Yeah.
And like I ended up getting like 2 cameras. Had a stunt woman. Had horses. Had like weapons. And like I learned After Effects. And I made people like teleport and stuff. And it was like 10 minutes.
What was the name of that project?
Stranger.
Oh, I was gonna say because I was on a project like that, and I was like, was that on your project?
I wish you were there.
Because it was weird because it was a Western, and I remember the character being teleported.
Oh,
which is weird. It was for like the 24-hour film festival or something.
Right. Yeah.
And we were working crazy like that, and we found that area in South Georgia that looks like the Grand Canyon, not the Grand Canyon, but that type of structure with the rocks and everything.
I know what you're talking about. I think that was Brian. Yes, because I saw that film, and it was what was it? Alita's going crazy over there. I know. She's like, I can fucking hear you. No, but I remember seeing that short film. It was like outside at like a laundromat or something.
Yes.
And then it moved to like this Grand Canyon. And I remember asking, where did you film that?
Yeah.
And it was here.
It was really cool.
Yeah. You were on that?
I was on that. Yeah. I did the art on that one too.
Oh.
Yeah. The guns for the holster for the cowboys.
Really?
And some stuff with I can't remember now exactly what it was, but whatever art was related.
Yeah. Do you do that often? The 48?
No. I did. No. I did. It's funny. I've done a 48 and I've done a 24, and I think that might be the only thing. When I was in Fort Lauderdale, we did that might have been the 48 down in Fort Lauderdale. And that was a crazy experience. We ran around. They only give you so much time to figure out what you're going to do. Here's your theme. You had to wait till midnight to get the word released.
Yeah.
Here's your theme. Here's your word, whatever. We must have ran around for I don't know how many hours trying to figure out what to do. Our group ended up splitting into 2 divisions. One of us wanted to do one thing. One of us wanted to do another. We kind of could not get together on it. So the editor, who was part of this team, decided without telling us, I'm going to go around and create my own and record all you guys going through this process. So he all of us created this entire behind the scenes project of the 48-hour film festival. Yeah. And that was what was submitted.
No way.
Yeah. And it was the craziest thing when we saw it. And it started off like a regular project, like a filming project, because we were like, I was one of the actors. In the scene. And we were doing this whole thing and whatever. And that's what cut to the next thing with music and everything. Cut to, okay, now here's the behind the scenes. Here's how we couldn't get along, how we couldn't agree on what to do for the 48 hour. And then we titled it something or whatever. It was submitted. And I don't know if we were somebody, I heard somebody was editing it in the van on the way to the meeting the deadline. And it was crazy. It ended up coming out really cool.
That's really
But of course we didn't win. But
oh man.
But you know, it was a certain time that was captured that you can't really recreate.
Yeah, you can't ever go back. I mean, that's like one of the moments, you know,
that you'll always
that's one reason.
In time.
Yeah, that's one reason I really like doing the 48. Not for the stress, definitely not.
Yeah,
because it is stressful. Yeah. And like I have my own rules. Like if I ask anyone to help me out with anything, I don't ever go past 8 hours, ever.
Really?
Yeah, because like to your point, time. You know, I can't pay them most of the time, and even if I do, it's not much. Yeah. I can get food, but like anything over 8 hours,
expensive. Yeah.
It's expensive, and you know, like it's just it for me. If it's over, it means I'm doing something. It's incompetence from my part. Like if I can come in and then write it or get everything ready, and because I've been doing this for so many years, I should be be able to do it and go.
Yeah.
So like if I'm able to,
there's always unforeseen things though.
But sure, but that's my problem. It shouldn't be the crew's problem,
right?
You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, but to your point, it's really, really hard.
Yeah.
Like the last 48, that was my rule. This is like no over 8 hours. We have to find the location. Well, like I knew that going in, I wanted to do like a cafe love story type of thing. Mm-hmm. And I think that 48, I was leaning towards, we got to get two, there was like two genres you can get. Mm-hmm. So, and you can combine them. And one
really?
Yeah. And one of them, I don't know if it was just that year or whatever, but it was like one of them was time travel and then one of them was sci-fi, and they all had like those kind of, you know, bits to it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm going to do time travel and I want to do a love story. Okay, bam. I'm just going to go ahead and prepare the locations for that. And even if I don't get it, I'm still going to make the short film. I'm going to submit it. I don't care.
It becomes a personal challenge.
Absolutely. So that's how I approached it. And luckily we got time travel. So it went off without a hitch.
Awesome.
Yeah, because I wanted everyone to see it on the big screen. I think that's a great experience. But it
really is.
Yeah.
And it's something you look back on, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that.
That's right. And I'm happy I did that one. Like that was a fun one to do. Mm-hmm. And we recorded all under 8 hours, and it was just like, holy crap.
So your 48 hours turned into an 8-hour project? Or at least the crew part.
We filmed it in 8 hours, yeah. But like the next day, I took like another 8 hours to edit it, and then another 4 hours, maybe 6, to do sound design and mix it, all of that jazz. But that was on me. Like everyone else is gone and at home. I'm doing it myself. I don't mind overworking. That's fine.
Because it's you.
Yeah, it's my thing. I'm leading it anyway. So
right.
But yeah, like I haven't done one sentence.
That's cool.
It's stressful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. That's probably why I've only done like one.
There you go.
Yeah, one or two.
Yeah. So you don't see yourself doing another one?
I think it really depends on what's going on in my life at the time. It depends. If it falls into place right, maybe.
Yeah.
But you know, I thankfully I've been keeping pretty busy. Every now and then I'll get like a span of time where I don't, you know, I'm sort of in between and I don't have anything going on. And then I start to get antsy and climb the walls because I'm at home and I'm like at home with the cat.
Something.
I'm like, yes, get me out of here.
No, is your cat destructive or something?
No, well, she's 8. She's like 7 months old, so you know, she's still a kitten, and she demands attention, and I think we spoiled her too much, so she's used to getting a lot of attention.
Getting her way.
If you try to take a break and go to the bathroom or eat, she will bug you and be meowing at you and like pay attention,
right.
and you're like, give me a break. I'm trying to live over here, you know.
I'm living my own life.
Yeah,
that's how she was.
Yeah,
all the time.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I remember the first night I got her, I was like, immediate regret.
Really? Yeah.
Not that I didn't want her. It's just that, oh man, here comes the growing pains, because you have a responsibility. You know, it's not like, oh, I want a cute dog. and then just
Well, you do that at the beginning, and then
Of
you realize,
course.
and then you forget, and then you do it again.
ah,
Like I had 2 puppies, went through the growing pains, thought I was going to go insane, but we got through it. And once they hit that mark, they turned a completely different leaf, you know,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
were the most perfect, beautiful. I mean, those are my boys, you know.
Yeah.
It's like they were just amazing. But it was the growing pains, as you say. And then after that whole time, years pass by and you lose them. And it's, you know, and you're like, okay, well, it's time to get another pet.
yeah,
You're like, all right, I think I'll get another baby, because you forget.
right,
It's kind of like women who have baby after baby after baby. They forget about all the pains that they go through.
I
you know?
imagine so.
And then when they're there, they're like, oh, yeah, I forgot about this part.
yeah,
But it's just being patient and sticking it out. And then
Mm.
once you get over that hump, and then
Yeah.
hopefully, you know, they make it all worth it.
yeah. No, I'm gonna stick with pets for a while. I'm not
Yeah.
eager to have kids. My dad's like, "Come on, have a couple kids."
Always.
and
yeah.
I'm like, maybe.
Well, if
Nah.
you have siblings, you could put that all off on them.
Well, she's got a kid now,
Okay.
so I mean,
There you go.
Yeah. That was surprising. That was really surprising because they were here
Uh-huh.
and with my mom, and then she passed, and this was a couple of years back. Then I was like, "You guys should move," because they have family in Texas,
Mm-hmm.
and here they were only really staying for my mom to try to get better and all this. And then she passed, and then I was like, "Go move," and then they moved, and all of a sudden, my sister went from being, you know, super introverted to being like, "Hey, there are people, and I have friends now." And then
Oh,
she got
nice. She
married.
flourished.
Unreal. Same with my dad. Like he was
Yeah.
able to, you know, go out and live for himself. Has a wife. And I'm
Were
like,
they maybe they were holding on because where your mom kind of like
oh, absolutely.
wanted to?
Well, she was just sick. She was just sick for
Mm,
so
okay.
many years.
Yeah, that makes it tough.
And
yeah.
then for me, I was like I feel bad now, but at the same time, it's like you just have to live your life because
Yeah.
they were there, and I was like, well, I can't be because
Mhm.
I gotta live my life, man. I mean, it's only
Yeah.
once. That's it. You know.
Yeah, that's a tough situation.
It's a tough one. It's a
Yeah.
tough one, but I mean, what can you do?
But it's what your mom would have wanted, you know,
Well,
to-
definitely,
to live and yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
But it was almost like crazy because they didn't even tell me about a lot of the serious stuff that went down. I didn't know about it until like a year after she passed. My dad was like, "We didn't tell you half the stuff because
Oh,
we
wow.
knew that you would have came back and all this." And I'm like,
They protected you from that.
"Whoa,
Wow.
that's
Yeah.
heavy, man. That's crazy."
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is crazy. Yeah. Well, losing a parent's never fun. I just lost mine in October.
Oh man, I'm so
Oh,
sorry to hear
yeah,
that.
October of last year.
Yeah.
So, but I guess on the good side of that is he kind of prepared us.
Yeah.
I mean, he was diagnosed with cancer and kind of, I think he had it for a little while, didn't know he had it. And then by the time he got diagnosed, it was kind of like it started rolling real quick.
That's how it happened.
Yeah. So, but he was always a very free spirited soul. So he kind of was always talking about, you know, moving on and going home. And
Yeah.
so I think we were kind of more prepared. And I'll always be thankful for that. By the time, I mean, you can, as much as you can be prepared,
Absolutely.
you know?
Absolutely.
So as difficult as it was, I think it could have been way more difficult had he not been the person that he was.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough thing. I mean, honestly, me going through that whole thing has very difficult. But at the same time, now it's like, you know, it's gonna happen. No reason to fear it. Let's just
Yeah, it helps.
go into positively. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I still believe they're around. They're watching.
Oh,
So-
absolutely.
So you just gotta enjoy your life while you can because it's
That's
short. You know?
It is short.
We're
It's
back on that train.
Feeling shorter and shorter.
I'll tell you, when I go to work from being off for the weekend, going back on Monday, and everybody's like, "Oh, how was your weekend? What'd you do?" I'm always dumbfounded, going, "What did I do? I cannot remember for
Yep.
anything.
Yep.
It's terrible."
It's the way it is. Like I'll end up doing like it's this show, and then I have another one tomorrow, and then tomorrow night I'll be like, wow, I can't wait to go to work from work.
Right?
Well, this
Yeah.
doesn't feel like work, but you know what I mean. It's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah,
it just doesn't
totally.
stop. It doesn't stop, and then you know it's already March in 2020. You know, we started out with
Yeah.
World War III. Now the coronavirus. What's gonna
Right?
happen in May?
Happy 2020. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Uh-huh. Are you into like memes and social media and all that jazz?
Yeah, social media. Yeah, my sister loves memes, so she likes to send memes. I wish I had checked, because whenever I see them, I enjoy them.
Yeah.
I keep telling myself, I'm like, I want to start looking more of these up, but I don't end up doing it. I don't spend as much time on social media as a lot of people do, but I do try to get some fair share in there.
Yeah.
So I'm behind on some of the memes, but when somebody shows me one, I love them.
Oh, they're so good. And there's so many.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. I like that they're topical too. Like they can be about everything that's going on right now, but it's tough to stay away politically because especially with this year. Oh, my word.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Not a fan of talking about it, huh?
Well, no, political conversations. Honestly, this is my take, and this is probably not the smartest thing to do, but it's, psychological survival. I think for me, I don't watch the news.
That is the best thing you could do.
Yeah, I really don't, because I realized watching the news is very depressing. They don't sit and report about all the wonderful things in life that have happened and this good person and that good person. It's all about, sensationalism. It's all about, what they want what they want to scare you into, or everything's so overly dramatized. Yeah. It's just better not to get that in my head. And if something is really that terrible, I know eventually it'll come to me from one direction or another. Yeah. But I kind of try to stay. But it's also bad. It's not good for me not to know or be more aware of some of the things that are going on also. Yeah. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? It
is because, it's good to be aware, but at the same time, I kind of wish like I was able to stay away. I like to see it because it's funny. Like I like to laugh.
Some of it's
it's funny, but a lot of it's dark humor. Yeah. And it's like, oh, it's funny that it sucks so much.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But as long as you can keep laughing, it helps.
It does. Yeah. It does. Absolutely. Absolutely. But hell, on that note, I think we had a good conversation.
Yeah.
Do you feel good about it?
Yeah, I feel good about it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I do too.
Fun.
Yeah. You know how long it went?
No.
An hour and a half.
Really?
Absolutely.
How long do they normally go?
Around that time.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I've only had one that ended up going a little shorter, but I think it was like an hour.
Yeah.
But it was because the guy I had come in, we were talking politics.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That one was the short one. Not because of the topic, but just because he had to go.
Yeah.
Brian, I don't hate you, man. Please come by. But
it went pretty well.
Well, good.
Smooth. It was fun. We had a lot to. And it's like we've only spoken once before or something.
I know.
And so, but, conversation flowed.
Absolutely.
Some people, it's just like that.
Yes, yes, absolutely. That's one reason I wanted to keep doing this, because I love talking with people. And it's almost like a skill that you have to learn, I think. Yeah. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I like
Some people, it's really difficult to talk to. That you notice that?
Very much
It's like, is it me or is it this other person? And
yeah.
You always question yourself.
Yes. I think just some people are naturally introverted, and some people really don't vibe that well together. Like I met this guy who was a chef.
Well, you're whispering. Like nobody else is going to hear.
He's a chef. He's not hearing me right now. He's a great guy, great chef, but we just didn't vibe at all. And at first I was like, did I say something? And now I was like, nah, man, it's just some people just don't vibe.
Yeah. That's what it is. And I don't know about the introverted, because as a kid, I was very introverted. I didn't say 2 words.
Yeah?
Yeah. But as I've gotten older, and life happens. Right. Again, this is like my common phrase for the day. It sort of it forces you to come out. And I became a bartender for a little while, and that helped a little bit. Yeah. So it's like relationships you have along the way, friends you meet, you become more and more. But, it does depend on the person. If you get me in a room with about more than 5 people, I will become that introvert again. Yeah. It's weird. Yeah.
No, I feel like I'm the same way. It just depends around who I'm with. But to your point, had a great conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nina, for stopping by.
No problem.
Hope you can do it again. And all right.
All right. Good. All right.
Take it
Hope
easy.
to see you around.
That's right.